Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, and we're here for PoliTarology. Thank you for joining me. And if you're watching this on the replay, no worries about that. You're in for a treat. There's so much going on that I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those shows where it's just like popcorn popping. There's just lots of stuff going on for the whole show. So I have my sister backstage, Cleo, and she may make an appearance. You never know. If you're really nice and say pretty please, she might come on. I have a few questions that I want to get into. And in fact, while we were backstage and talking, I just did a throw on, and I know this is going to be one of the questions, the big, beautiful bill. And how is it going to go? Well, as you know, last week I was saying, well, you may or may not know last week if you didn't tune in, but last week I was pretty sure that it would not pass, but on Sunday when I had to cancel my last show, I wrote in the post that I was worried about it, and I was worried that it was going to pass. And in the Senate, it actually did pass with lots of rewrites, which now means it has to, unless it passes just identical, it doesn't make it solid, finished. So it has to go back to the House now, and the House has to wrap their little pea brains around all the changes. And maybe for the first time, some of them have to read it. But there's a lot to not like about this bill. And certainly there has been a lot of coverage in independent media about how bad the bill is. Probably on Fox, there's not a lot of that coverage. But anyway, I did a throw on this for whether it's going to pass in the House or not. And well, I'll just go through the cards. It's just really, really interesting. Hi, artsy girl Marilyn. Thank you for coming. So the first card that I get out of this is the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands is that, reluctant or non-convinced hero card. So people are not convinced. Generally, this bill just has a bad stank on it. Just like everybody knows that it's been talked down, it's been put down, it's been criticized, it's been, you know, just such a bad look on it that nobody really wants to put their name on it. Nobody wants to be behind it. I mean, even Lisa Murkowski came out and said, please, I hope that you guys rewrite this bill. She's very, she's the one who's so worried, and, she thinks everybody's getting blackmailed, yada, yada. I think, though, that there was a House GOP representative who just said, look, I don't care. I don't care about Trump. I just raised something almost like $500,000 off of the last thing that they did about the bill, where he was saying, I only take from small donors. I don't take money from a big PAC. And so I'm not worried about any of this with this big bill, because Trump can do everything that he wants. He's not going to, he may try to primary me, but it's not going to work because I've got a good base going and I know that those people vote. So I guess that's kind of the magic formula. Don't take big money, and then you're not beholden to all the PACs and Trump and all of that stuff. But so he's just one, and there's a lot more numbers in the House, so you have a lot more options for Republicans to go against it, actually. What crosses this is the High Priestess. I'm using the Crow Tarot. And so there's a lot of things behind the scenes. And I know that that's mostly what the news is talking about today, is the meetings in little Mikey Johnson's office, and the things behind closed doors with the House, with other big committee members and things like that. They're beside themselves. They don't want to talk about it. Hi, D House 22. Thank you. Hi, Brian Evanoff. Hi, Sylvia. Where's all these other people? Jules Ever After. Thank you. Jules Ever After says, I'll just put it up, says he knows of 10 R's who are or were a no. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just, but I don't think it's a slam dunk. This is what you'll see here with the cards. So we do have at the base the King of Pentacles. So, Dumpy is making it all about the bucks and the primaries, and not at all about the merits of the bill. In the past, it was dead. It was just dead. It was, not going to make it anywhere. But, they've done these other little tweaks to it, and they want to play it off as if the things that they've added to it were good things. No, they're not. And it's so huge. Who can even find good or bad? Who can even tease out what all is in it? It's just this behemoth of a bill that's just too big to get your head around, which I think is not right. And I think that they've been told it's not right from the whatever that person is who says, what can and can't be in a budget bill. Isn't it supposed to be a budget bill? Yeah. Well, they can't put all this other stuff in a budget bill. Now, at the top of it, we have the Eight of Swords. Eights figure prominently in this. We had the Death card, which is 13, but, so that's not an 8. Sorry about that. But we have this 8, and then we have another 8. And 8s are transformation, things going in a different direction. So we've got this 8, which is actually non-transformation. It's binding. It's like being in prison. So it's stuck. It's going to be stuck. And it's going to be hard for them to get around the things that everybody hates. And coming in the future position is the Two of Pentacles. So it's going to be, a money question. And they're going to try very hard to pretend like this isn't just taking a bunch of money out of the budget and calling it a quid pro quo for the taxes of the rich. That is what it is. Now, I don't see how them not taxing the rich can pay for all of these other things, but they're saying, well, we have to do the cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, whatever, so that we can pay for the taxes to the rich. And then they're like, oh, wait, did we say that out loud? No, we don't want to say that. We don't want to pretend like that's really happening. It is really happening. And that just is making people mad. Now we have the Six of Cups for their hopes. They hope things can go back to the way they were when, the corporations didn't pay any kind of taxes, and neither did the oligarchs. But in the position for what the world sees about this, what they see from the outside looking in, is the Queen of Wands. And she's a queen of action. But she's also the queen who will do a quid pro quo. You give me this, I'll give you that. So that's no good. That's no bueno. And then we have the Eight of Wands. So when things do start moving on it, it'll go boom, boom, boom really quick. So look for that too. It's going to be the right now, just, this sluggish standstill. Everything's, at a crossroads. We can't figure it out. And the final card is the Moon. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make the July 4th thing. I think it's very dicey. Now I'm wondering, maybe somebody in the chat can tell me, could they work through this holiday weekend? Is that a possibility? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the rules are. So let's see. What do people have to say down here? Oh, yeah, Brian. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, the bill would be null and void and illegitimate if they were removed. But remember that even if they get removed, things are not going to happen like a light switch. If the bill actually does get passed, that's just one of, the 1,050 things that they have to research, figure out how to flip it back, and then take the steps to flip it back. Because the next regime, the next, panel or whatever is going to be running things is not going to do things by fiat. They're not going to just write executive orders for everything. They're going to put methodologies in place so that they can very systematically put things back to the way they were. Yeah, I knew that, Brian. I get that. All right, so D House, that's very nice. Okay, Rose Blue says, European news sites have reported migrants with Ooh, okay. I don't want to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. Oh, Brian, thank you. You're by far my favorite. Oh, okay. Oops, I put it on the screen. Thank you so much. That's such a nice compliment. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Oh, the parliamentary. Thank you, Rose Blue. That's who says that you can have this in the bill, but not that. And if it's supposed to be a budget bill, it can't contain these kinds of things. Thank you. And of course, they're not even listening to, I believe it's a woman. They're not even listening to her. I think somebody even mentioned that they'd try to get her fired. This guy is such a can we say whack job on YouTube anymore? Oh, I just said it. Okay, whack job. All right, the election fraudsters, squatters, imposters, just like the illegal bill. Oh, Jack Smith is here from The Hague. Let me make a note of that. Great. Okay. Ice Budget Inc. for time. All right, guys. Mother Nature has kept a bunch of them from returning to DC. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this. Brian says, I know it's not going to happen, but I had a dream. Jack Smith was in town and said, I might as well kill two birds with one stone. Let's remove Trump and arrest Bibi at the same time. And when is Bibi coming? When is he going to be here? No, that's last year. Sorry, AI. I want to know about now. Okay, next Monday. Netanyahu will visit the White House next Monday as Trump presses for a ceasefire. Very interesting. And very interesting. And Libby did a reading on this and said that Trump has just been gaslighting Bibi Netanyahu. He's really been playing him. So that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Loves Peace says, as far as keeping them over the 4th of July weekend, they could, but they aren't going to want to miss their 4th of July vacation. Yeah, but would something of this magnitude cause them to override their own personal desires? I don't know. Okay. All right. For entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Rose Blue. We'll put that up there. Okay. Tuesday. The reason I brought up the building. Yeah, that's true too. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff in this bill that don't kick in until 2026, 2028, and 2029. It's crazy. Mm. Oh boy, what about the barricades? I forgot about that. And I haven't seen much about that in the news, but then I just watch Midas Touch basically and all the other independents. I don't watch real news usually. Well, real news, legacy news. Be charged. Will Orange be charged by the ICC for oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So on the bill, let me just finish that out. On the big ugly bill, this process that it's going through in the House is really gnarly. And thank goodness there's so many people in the House because it's like corralling cats. You can't really get them to do much of anything en masse. You know, they are much more independent than the senators who I think are much more fearful of losing their positions. Although the senators' terms are 6 years, they're much longer, and in the House it's only 2 years. But it ends with the moon. The reading ends with the moon. So I think that things have to evolve. I think that things have to happen around the bill before we really get any kind of a definite bead on what the result's going to be. And so I'm sorry, but I can't say it will or won't pass. I fear it will pass. That's me personally. I do fear that. But on an intuitive level, I'm feeling like there's some things that we really don't know about. We have the High Priestess and the Moon in this reading. The High Priestess is the second card, so that's the cross. Things that are secret. We can imagine a lot of those things that are secret, right? But the ending card being the Moon, it's just not to be revealed yet. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so that was the big bad bill. Okay, so let's look at, yeah, Kat, can they reverse this bill if dump truck is decertified? Absolutely. I hope you're right, Rose Blue. Rose Blue said she heard 14 Republican Congress people want to vote no on this bill. Yes, they want to, but are they going to stick to their guns and do it? That's the thing. Are they going to do it? We'll see. All right. So let's look at Jack Smith. Let's see. What the hell is Jack doing here? Is he in New York? Is he in Washington? Do we know? What's Jack Smith doing here? Wow. Yeah. Okay. What is Jack Smith doing here? Jack. You didn't call me Jack. I'm a little bit pissed, but if you're here doing some good work, then good. Okay. So Jack, let's see what we got here. We got the Three of Pentacles. Oh, he's working. He's working with some comrades. He's putting some things together. And two of Wands is crossing him. Two of Swords, Two of Wands. Yeah, he's doing some real forensic work on some of this stuff, I think, having to do with Trump for the ICC. That's what I'm getting. Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. Knight of Wands. So I don't know where all of his old team is, but I just wouldn't be too surprised if some of them are connecting with him on this trip. And Six of Pentacles, yeah. He's getting some information for the ICC. Let me see what these last cards are. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he didn't come here to pay a traffic ticket, that's for sure. Just putting it out there that he's clean. However, he's looking to help. He's looking to help out with this bad situation with Dumpy. And we have the Seven of Swords. He's talking about the steal, where he's looking at things that are going on in the government. He's taken notes. Yeah, this is going to be on a personal level for him once he can bring this stuff to bear. So satisfying that he worked so hard on his what was his special prosecutor assignment. He worked so hard and he was so fair and law abiding in his actions and judgments that it was very disappointing for him, obviously, to go back and just kind of give it up. But this is going to be very satisfying. And the final word is the final card is the Judgment card. So whatever he is working on here, and I'm pretty sure this is the ICC. He's gathering intel and information and probably evidence for the case that the ICC is bringing. against Dumpy. So somebody had asked, are they going to charge him with crimes against humanity? Well, it depends on what the major part of the case is really about. Is it about election interference? So I'm not sure that that's deemed crimes against humanity. Is it about some sort of collusion with what went on in Gaza and Israel? Now that would be crimes against humanity. Um, is it just the deportation stuff? Also crimes against humanity. So it depends, or money laundering. That's not crimes against humanity. That's more like the election interference stuff. It's, money laundering. That's a whole, you know, uh, category of crime within itself. So he's here. He's got a mission. We're probably going to hear about it later. And he does his best. So, all right. All right, all right, all right. Okay. All right. So Brian there mentioned, well, let me look at the starred questions. Oh, it is a starred question. Okay. So Brian mentioned the, as he put it, the stupid fencing around the White House and Treasury building, and says that Trump did it just for optics. He wants something to go down on the 4th of July. And at the protests will be major instigators. Well, yeah, let's hope that that does not happen. So there are protests going on the 4th of July. They're not officially the No Kings protests. They're another organization, but still they're going to be widely attended. And Dumpy is putting up the barricades in, I guess, fear of what might happen with those rallies. So we'll see. I think we can deduce why he's putting up the barricades. It's so that he has a good backdrop when he sends his goons out to stir up trouble and to try to get people violent. But let's read on, will there be arrests or violence or anything on July 4th from those rallies? Will there be arrests and violence on July 4th in these rallies? Because aren't they going on around the country too, not just in DC?
Yeah, Colleen, the rallies are everywhere across the country from the 4th of July, the 17th of July, and probably some others. And it's really pivotal that these people, I love what they're doing. This is going to make a big difference in July of how other Congress people and senators are reacting to things. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. See you in a bit.
Thanks. Okay. Oh, a lot of cards came out. Okay. Well, there might be some big stuff blowing up on the 4th of July. There might be some bad actors in there. Yeah. He's really wanting to recreate the January 6th riot. He really wants that to kind of happen again. He's going to send people out. He's going to send goons into the crowd and try to get them to instigate. Oh, yeah, he's working really hard on this. Yeah, he's trying to commandeer the whole thing and turn it into a big, wicked, violent rally. But I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, it's really not going to work. He's trying to steal the rallies, just like, well, he's focused on the one right around the White House, right around Washington, D.C. He's trying to steal it like he stole the election, and he is not going to get what he wants, I don't think. I mean, he does get the magician card for what, for him kind of manipulating things and trying to make everything go his way. But the cards are a bit too peaceful. There's not going to be some sort of big blow up, except initially. I mean, there is going to be some initial big blow up at these things, but the outcome of everything is just going to be people looking at him and being like, well, this was a protest against you, just a rally. I mean, just peaceful. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, yeah, he's he's just got too many irons in the fire. He can't keep this up. He can't keep up, the stuff with Israel, the stuff with Iran, his relationship with Putin, his relationship with Elon, the Doge, fallout, his court cases, his, looking for his wife. He can't even find Melania. Where the hell is she? And then the big, beautiful bill and all the other stuff that he's doing. He just can't keep up all of that stuff. He doesn't have the attention span. He doesn't, he's really losing it too. Yeah, Rose Blue, he was slurring the other day. He slurs every day. He's just slurring every day. So I think that the problem is that he does have good moments, and it's in those moments that he creates the most trouble, the most chaos. And with Stephen Miller at his side and Kristi Noem and all those weirdos, it just doesn't take much. They all help light a match that just ignites bad stuff. So I would be very careful around Washington, D.C. if I were you. I would be really, really careful. Don't go by yourself. Make sure that you have a meeting point if you get separated. All those things that you should do when you're going to any kind of a rally like that. Just make sure that you really take all the precautions you possibly can. Don't take your real phone, get a burner phone, like all those things. Just be super, super, super careful about the whole thing in Washington, D.C. especially. Now, I don't know about other cities. I don't know if there's going to be more it's possible that in a couple of other cities he might also be sending people out to stir things up. But the one thing about the couple of no kings before is that people were so peaceful. They were so cooperative. They followed the rules. They really did not do anything to instigate any kind of confrontations whatsoever. And so let's hope that people are going to be doing the same on 4th of July, so that no matter what, they're just protecting each other and being safe and harmonious and happy. So, all right. Okay. Okay, that's good. So that's the barricades around the White House. Where was that? Okay, barricades. And we did Jack Smith. Okay. So let's look at Cleo, you pick one. Pick one from the starred comments and let's see what we got. Can you read on Uranus going into Gemini on 7/7? Big revolutions have happened under the, yes, this is true. Okay. So one of the things about Uranus going into Gemini is that this is also hitting Trump's Sun and Uranus conjunction in his chart. So now I know when Mercury is Cassimi with the Sun, that means it's too close to it. It kind of like almost burns up the synapses, like it's just too much firepower for your brain to handle. And even though you might, leading up to it and leading away from it, you might have, inspired ideas and be very brilliant and able to work on things very well. At the moment when it's too close, it's just too much. And you just have to like lay down or take a nap or just stop doing what you're doing because your brain can't handle it. And I suspect that for Trump, this is also something that happens, that Uranus, being the higher octave of Mercury, is also, it's too much. And we see that with him. It's his brain that's going, his delirium, his dementia, his whatever he's suffering from is really kind of blowing out his brain. And he hastened that, of course, with the use of whatever kind of pharmaceuticals that he's used over the years. So when Uranus moves into Gemini, and he's probably feeling it now, I mean, that's only a couple days away. This is his planet that he loves. He loves to be this unpredictable kind of chaos maker, but it isn't good for him. It isn't good for his health, and it's not good for his nervous system. So, yeah, big revolutions have happened under this 7-year transit. That's very, very true. I haven't been looking at the astrology for this very, very closely, but just because it changes signs doesn't mean there's going to be a revolution that starts that day or even the next month. It depends on how this Uranus transit hits the charts of various countries or various governments, and how it triggers them. It has to trigger them by degree, sign, and planet. So I know that for the United States, it does really hit some sensitive points, which actually is why Donald Trump is president right now, because his chart also sits on some very sensitive points with the United States chart. His chart really, really fits in and over the United States chart in a lot of ways, in a lot of planets and signs. So while we need this revolution, because that's what we're in, is a revolution, and he is definitely the instigator of this revolution, but from the opposite side, not from the side of wanting to move towards the change, but he is the sign that he is this on the side of instigating a destruction. He's on the side of, let's break everything down, let's destroy it, let's get rid of the way the government is now, let's get rid of all of these things. And then what the United States people are going to do is they're going to have to redo it. And that's the revolution, is really redoing it. We see this in the Democratic Party right now, where you've got it's almost pretty clearly the young against the old, that the old way of thinking is just failing. It's really failing us. And the newer, younger politicians have a different mindset. They're a different generation, they have a different life experience, but also because they're looking at the world through a different lens, a different perspective. And this is another thing that Uranus is going to bring about for us as a country. It is going to light up the areas of our government that need to be changed, and like the Constitution needs to be updated. Our immigration laws need to be updated. I mean, point to any major area of law, it probably needs to be updated, mainly because for almost the last 50 years, the government has been slowly grinding to a halt and ceasing to function. So maybe even the structures of Congress and Senate and executive, judiciary, and the legislative branches, they all kind of need to be reworked, rethunk is what they need. They all need to be thought out in a different way, and those new ways need to be implemented. But this is not an easy thing to do. I mean, it took them a few years to write that Constitution, and even then they spent the next few years after they really wrote it and signed it making the word's going out of my mind. No, not just the amendments, but making different tweaks to it, and different articles to it. Okay, so Uranus is going to we're in a revolution that I believe we're already in. As it relates to DJT, I believe this is pushing him towards sort of his final act. I don't think that he's going to cross over in the next few months. I wish, but I just don't see that happening. But sometime in the next 7 years, with this Uranus really pounding on him, I do think that he will probably transition, and it's likely that he will have revelations towards the end of his life that I don't think he'll ever feel like he did the wrong thing. I think he will always believe that he did all the right things for this country. But he's gonna be chaotic and eccentric and changeable, and he's going to continue to be a chaos maker. And having Uranus sit on his sun will only make him more so. But it also could be very detrimental to his health. It could also bring about a real difficulty to his health, because there's some other planetary actions taking place on his chart that are very, very difficult to get through health wise for him. So that's what I have to say about that. Thank you for the question.
So I just wanted to say, Rose Blue brought this up about the Idaho guy who took a plea bargain to avoid death penalty. She's talking about that Koberger guy that stabbed 4 college students to death. And I just, God, it's such a sad, sad thing. But I did want to say that I just good credit to the people, the police and the investigators. They nailed this guy from the get-go. We've waited over 2 years for him to go to court, and now he's such a wimp. He's such a disgusting person. You're just like, oh, now I'm going to say I'm guilty. Well, you could tell that he was all along. I do think there might be something mentally off on him, obviously, if he would do something like this. But also, just the amazing work that the investigators and the police and the prosecutors, everybody, what they have done to bring this to a halt so we don't have to go through the whole court things and appeals and all that. My heart goes out to all the parents of these kids. I know some of them are upset, some of them are relieved. I mean, they don't know how to react to this because they didn't expect it. But anyway, Rose Blue, thank you for bringing that up. It has been a big deal in Washington State anyway. I'm sure it's all over the country about what this fool did. Um, and it's just one of those sad things, but I'm just so excited about how it was handled and how it was, they had him from the get-go. They found the knife sheath with his DNA on it. What the hell? And, how did they get there? Anyway, it's not funny, but I'm just, I'm really touched by this whole thing. So anyway, just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. All right, so I think that I am going to read now on the Florida alligator alley. I'm not going to call it alligator Alcatraz. That's stupid. But anyway, I'm switching decks. And what I want to know is, will it be open long? Will they have a lot of people there? Or will they have a hard time getting people to work there? Because I would think that the people who work there would be kind of under the same danger as the people who are being detained there. And somebody else had asked a question, is this just for money? I mean, if they're not getting due process, why do they need to detain them anywhere? So it's a good question. So how will this place work out? Will it be a popular deportation center? Let's see. Well, people will not be dying to get into it. They might be dying to get out of it. Okay, so it was reported in the news that on Tuesday, when Trump and DeSantis and everybody were there, that it was filled with water because they can't figure out a way not to have the water seep in. It's the Everglades, though. It's kind of like below sea level, I think. So whatever. And this was just a pretty rash thing. I know they had to have building it for quite a while, so it wasn't like they just decided this yesterday, but they just let us know about it like 2 days ago. So in that respect, it's very rushed. And for some reason, they seem to think they need all these facilities. So I guess they plan on doing a lot of deportations, which is really awful. Okay. So someone asked in the chat if it was just about making money. Yeah, absolutely. It's just about making money because the government will pay the facility to keep these people there before they're deported to another country, I guess. So we have the Seven of Wands is the first card that comes up, and the Seven of Wands is one of those defending the hill, defending one's home, that kind of card thing in the card. Why is that not focused? There we go. So defending your hill, but it's crossed by the Three of Wands. So there is going to be, there's going to be more. This is just a test run. There's going to be more of these facilities built. And they think it's just great. We have the Knight of Swords, so they're running in there, blindly, as hastily as possible, not really thinking about the consequences, but thinking about ways that they can make more, ways that they can use this one, ways that they can make the other deportation centers more dangerous, actually. That's what they're thinking. It's really sick. And it's crowned by the devil. Big surprise there. And they have big decisions to make because they just don't know like what color to make them and where to put the other ones and what kind of dangerous animals they can use and that kind of stuff. So they're hoping they'll make lots of money. And that Dumpy's getting a kickback on every person that's put into these paid deportation ICE centers. You know that. That is how he makes money. It's either the crypto or it's the, paid basically prison thing. He's going to make money on that. And so it's more breaking of the emoluments clause. He's making money on everything and he just doesn't care. He's not even hiding it, really. Now, what is going on for us is, the moon. We're not really seeing what's going on. We're not really being allowed to see the details of the whole arrangement, right? We're just not seeing it. And what's really happening, I said it was a murder bill. Yeah, he's the murder president. He's just betraying us, every human being that's ever tried to be in the United States. He's just betraying everybody, including his business partners in this. He's betraying everyone. So if Ron DeSantis thinks that all of a sudden now he's the right-hand guy for Trump, he's got another thing coming because Trump does not have loyalty to anybody. So the final card, the outcome is Two of Cups, not the Lovers, but the Two of Cups. So this is, any governor that wants to really rub up against the golden dumpy, he's got to build one of these and he's got to make it more dangerous than the last one that just opened. That's what this is about. And he's got to make sure that there's a nice big fat kickback for Dumpy on every single person who is put into that center. So really disgusting. Really disgusting. Pointless. Why do they need it? Don't know. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No sense at all. All right. So that's the that's the alligator thing. And let's see. Oh, there we go. Cross that one off. And then Let's look at his mental decline. How are we doing with that? Hey, Dumpster, how you doing, buddy? You feeling good? Missing a few gray cells? Yeah, I think so. And those synapses, you haven't seen them in many a day.
And while you're shuffling, Colleen, I just want to mention that almost every day for the last week or so, somebody has written an article about his mental decline and brought up different things that he has said and done that are just, it's just so obvious now. It's just really obvious. And I know you and other readers have been talking about Trump's decline. And now we're finally the rest of the world's catching up to you guys. But yes, I mean, he just says some stupid, stupid things, and then and he's oblivious to how inappropriate his comments
Mm-hmm.
are. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when, when he congratulated Ron DeSantis about the alligator Alcatraz or whatever they're calling that thing that you were just talking about. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that he brings up something about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is there at this talk with her
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks at DeSantis and says something to the effect of, uh, "If you were with Marjorie Taylor Greene, or if you were dating her, or if you were with her, how would you hand?" Just I can't remember the exact wording, but it was so inappropriate that even Ron DeSantis just kind of, uh, he just moved on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boyfriend speaks up and professes his love for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so, yeah, there's, they were talking about the serious mental decline and bringing up that just happened today. There's been a whole bunch of others for a long time. But I mean, anyway, since you were going with that, I just wanted to bring that one up because,
Thank you. I forgot to mention that whole comment about MTG. Thank
yeah,
you. Wow. Okay. So, mental decline of Dumpy. Mental decline has got me. Okay. Mental decline. Here we go. I think I got to turn these around. Okay, here we go. Oh, go down there. Oh, yeah. First card up is the Emperor. He really sees himself as an emperor or a king. This is his own mental image. He looks in the mirror and superimposed on his head, he sees some kind of a crown and a cape with epaulets. I mean, this guy is totally in la la land. And again, we get the Seven of Wands crossing him, and he feels like he just has to defend it. They just don't understand. I was going to say Melania, but Melania's not there to hear this argument. So I guess he's talking to Susie. Susie, they just don't get me. They just don't understand how hard I work for them and how much I've done for them. And they're not paying me enough for it. This is what goes through his mind. This guy is. Then we get the Eight of Wands. So things are declining and deteriorating rapidly. Rapidly. He used to be able to act like, the chaos agent and, like he could make everything happen, the magician. So he would look at what he had at his fingertips to work with, and he would make something happen somehow. And that's why he became such a good liar, because he would have to pretend like he did things that he really didn't do. Now, on top of the cards here is the Two of Wands. So again, with his like fantasy land, he's still got big plans for the future. Big plans, Susie. They don't even know how much I'm going to accomplish. It's going to be so great. In the future, we've got Knight of Pentacles. Then we've got the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords. That is the steal. So he's looking at more stealing. Six of Cups, everybody's looking at the past. 10 of Cups is what he's hoping for, and what comes out at the top is the Ace of Pentacles. Now, Pentacles is not always money. It's also your health and your body. And I'm thinking with this that this is leading to an event that will be named. And I don't think they're going to come out and say, oops, he had a little aneurysm. Like, I don't think they're going to say, he had a little mental breakdown, or he had an episode where we couldn't get him back from reality. They're not going to come out and state that. They're going to say it's something else. Oop, he had to have gallbladder surgery. And, that would keep him what's it called? Walter Reed, for maybe more than a week, right? So they could keep him away from the public. So it's going to be something like that, where they claim it's one thing and it's really another. But it's coming. It's coming. I wouldn't be surprised at all if in July there was a few absences, at least one like week-long absence where we just don't hear or see him. Of course, I think Stephen Miller has taken over his social media accounts, so it might be kind of hard to tell that he's not there, except that you just won't see pictures of him. And we know how he loves to have his picture all over the place. So that's that. Now, somebody else wrote, so is mental decline? Yeah, no bueno. It's declining. It's just going faster and faster and faster. The phrase galloping horses comes to mind as far as the speed of it. It's just his gray matter is not healthy. All right. So someone had mentioned, it's Renee Kraplin. Netanyahu is coming to talk to Trump, and Jack Smith just happens to be in the U.S. also. Well, do we know that Jack's going to still be here next week? We don't know, but could be. So let's read on that. Is Jack Smith going to hand Netanyahu? Will Trump spend the 4th at Mar-a-Lago? Oh, who cares? I mean, do you really care? I don't care. I don't care. He probably will. That's where he likes to.
I'm looking for the one that you just are reading on.
I'm sorry. It's right here. I'll put it up.
There.
So will Trump be in Mar-a-Lago? I don't know for the 4th, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's very hot in Florida right now. So probably he would go to Bedminster, where it's a little bit cooler. He likes Bedminster in the summer. And not so he can visit Ivana's grave, but because it's not as hot as Florida. Okay, so is Jack Smith going to come here and hand whatever the ICC hands to people when they're telling them that they're charging them with war crimes? So is Jack Smith going to deliver the goods to Netanyahu and indict him, or whatever they do from the ICC? Because he already visited one country that should have turned him in. I think that was Hungary, and they didn't. So, all right. Can never turn these the right way. Okay. This is very interesting. So we want to know if maybe Jack Smith is going to hand Bibi what would he hand him? A warrant, a subpoena, an indictment? I'm not quite sure what you call it, but would he hand him that from the ICC to basically call him to the ICC to go on trial for his crimes? I get the 2 of Swords crossed by the 2 of Pentacles. So there's decisions to be made about this. And then we get the Fool. It's a new thing. I mean, Bibi is a fool to come to a country where he could really be, looked at or talked to. But here's the thing with the ICC. We are not, for lack of a better word, subscribers to the ICC. We don't pay into the ICC. And so we're not obliged to turn over people to the ICC who have charges against them, unless we want to. We could do it voluntarily. But even for, I'm trying to think what the rules are with that. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to, right? We could if we wanted to. The kicker is that, Netanyahu hasn't done this in the United States. He hasn't committed these crimes in the United States. And I think that has a lot to do with whether they would even try to nab him or not here, because he didn't do these crimes in the United States. I think he has to be in a country that subscribes to the ICC or a country where he actually committed those crimes. So if Elon went to like Romania, for instance, they would probably nab him because they probably don't want him to do that again. So I don't think Jack's going to do that. So there goes that. Okay, that was short because the rest of the reading doesn't really make sense. And that's why, because it's not going to happen. All right. Okay. So I want to read on Elon. So Elon, and I'm going to change decks here. Elon is really starting to speak out against Dumpy and against his bill, certainly. And while Elon's camp is not nearly as big as Trump's camp, it's still damaging because Elon has a big platform. He has a big voice. Love him or hate him, he has a big voice in this world because of his platform. So is Elon really going to follow through with his threats to exact revenge on Dumpy by revealing things that Dumpy doesn't want revealed? God, there's so many people who have dirt on Dumpy. There's so many people who can reveal things about Dumpy. And Dumpy just keeps believing like he's the one. He says it over and over again. We hold all the cards. I have all the cards. I'm the one who's in control. I'm the one in power. Does he really believe nobody else has any power over him whatsoever? So naive. He's such a child. So, what will Elon do? And then the follow-up question is, and what will Dumpy do in return? So is Elon going to really come out with his own revenge against Dumpy? I mean, I predicted a long time ago that, oh yeah, he's coming out with it. But is this the time? Is this the moment when he's really going to do that? Okay. Oh, he wants to. Oh, he really wants to. The big reason is that he's really pissed off about the contracts. Oh yeah, I'm getting all yes cards here. He is so pissed. And he's, oh yes, he's definitely going to do it. And the contracts, while they're not going to make him poor by any stretch of the imagination, when he loses those contracts, and I think it's really imminent, he's really going to explode. So he may come out in 2 or 3 different stages. He may come out with some very damning statements now, and then the contracts get pulled, and then he may say, oh yeah, sucker. Well, listen to this, America. And he may come out with a lot more. Yeah, and Elon really feels like he has the goods. So yeah, like I said, he's going to go in stages. He's going to come out with some. Trump will take an action. Then he'll come out with more. Trump, knowing Trump, he'll pardon me for this phrase, but he'll shoot his wad the first time out. Trump's not going to hold anything back because he can't. And the one thing about Elon is he does have enough self-control that he can pace this because he knows that's going to be more effective. So yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to effect his revenge on Dumpy, and Dumpy's response is probably going to be his contracts. But what if it's something else? What if Dumpy decides that, well, we just have to deport Elon? Will he go through with it? Will Elon sit still for it? Let's see. No, they're too small potatoes for him. He's not gonna go for that. And truthfully, Elon doesn't care about the American people any more than Dumpy does. It just suits his purpose to use that as an argument for why the bill is so bad, and because he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it because it pulls back on things for electronic vehicles that he doesn't like. It pulls back all of the what do you call them? The rebates and stuff for that. And I think it pulls back on a lot of other things that his other companies have notions for. And he's worried about the contracts. He's worried that that he's going to lose his contracts. And like I said, it's not going to matter so much to him because he's so damn wealthy, but it's not great. I mean, he's going to have to find other sources of revolving income. So what? Will Trump deport him, or what's going to happen there? So we're going to read this from the perspective of Elon. Will Elon lose his contracts? Will Elon be deported or self-deport? Will he do that? Will Elon suffer from this, from these actions, whatever Dumpy does? Trump's thinking about it. Trump is trying to figure out what's the best way to punish Elon. That's what he wants to do. He wants to punish him. He wants to stop. Yeah, he wants to stop the contracts. He wants to stop all the regular income going to Elon because he's pissed. He's really upset. And from Elon's perspective, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to completely devastate him and wipe out his fortune or anything, but it's going to hurt. It's not going to be good. And it is the end of their friendship. And that, because Elon is such an emotional guy, he's a double Cancer. He's so emotional. That is what really hurts him, that Dumpy is no longer his friend. He truly believed that Dumpy was his friend. So he wanted to go back to Tesla, keep a hand in Doge. That's not happening.
Well, and let's not forget the $300 million that he gave to Trump's campaign. That's just gone. And Trump could care less. He has no gratitude for any of that kind of stuff. Plus, Elon has threatened to make sure that the Republicans that are voting for this bill, the big, beautiful bill, that he will make sure that they don't get reelected come time for their voting.
But the way that he's doing that is by primarying them.
Right,
putting up other so-called Republicans who could beat them.
Right.
And that has not worked well for him in the past. The people that he's put up have by and large failed. More of them have failed than succeeded. So that's it's not an empty threat, but it's not, it doesn't have a lot of teeth to it. So what I get here is that, the tide is going to turn for him. The tide is really going to turn for him. He's going to be very upset about losing the friendship. If I don't see Dumpy here making him leave, I see if anything, Elon might decide that he wants to deport himself. He wants to self-deport before it gets to that point. But the tide is definitely turning for Elon. It's not good for him. Let me see what else these cards have to say.
Well, could it be all this stuff that's coming up that will eventually remove Trump is that Elon is so involved in all of this stuff as well, the voting irregularities,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you know?
Yeah, he's definitely broken the law in like 6 different countries. So the
Yeah.
ICC has a paper with his name on it too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is no bueno for Elon. He definitely has a tower moment coming, but not today. You know, probably a few months down the road, just like Dumpy has. And it's just not going to be fun for him, but he will disappear in the middle of the night and it'll be hard to find him. But you know what? I bet the ICC can find him. I bet they can. Because he's too much of a loudmouth and a show off. And he runs these big, big, big public companies that make it pretty easy for him to be found. You know, I mean, I guess if he wanted to really hide away, he could pull a Jeffrey Epstein and find some, buy some island somewhere and just live there. But he's got what, something like 15 wives and or 15 baby mamas and all these kids. I mean, I guess he's just going to like stop communicating with them, stop seeing them, stop paying for them, whatever. I mean, you can send checks from almost anywhere, but even that, if he was living on some secret island, how the hell is he going to get the stuff? He's got Starlink. He could do it all with Starlink. So yeah, I guess he could disappear if he really wanted to, but somewhere you're going to find the ping. You're going to be able to ping where he is. Maybe
Yeah,
not an IP address, but something else.
I don't get called that he's going to disappear because right now, I mean, his Tesla company is in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
And his Starlink and his, what's the other one that
SpaceX.
all of those things are so dependent on government money to keep them funded. So now I don't think he's going to disappear, but he is getting more and more tempted to blow the lid off of this thing with Trump. But and I think that's going to eventually happen in order to save his own ass. Is
Yeah.
to say, hey, this is exactly what happened. And I think we could see this coming up soon, between now and September.
Oh yeah. I think, like I said, it's going to be in stages. He's going to let a little bit out, and then Trump's going to take an action. And then he's going to let more out. Then there's going to be more actions. I don't know if they're from Trump or just in general the world, like canceling the contracts, and then the tide really turns for him, and then he has to make a decision. He either has to leave the country and go into hiding or something, but I think those contracts are going to get pulled.
And then he'll really be pissed off.
Then he'll be butthurt. He'll be absolutely
yeah,
butthurt.
I mean, it is a thing where this thing with him and Trump is he is personally hurt.
Yes.
That's Trump is not hurt by anything like that. He has no emotional outlet in that way. So
no.
Yeah, and if Elon wants to blow the whistle on him, and he will, because he is going to be targeted as well as Trump. So I've always seen Elon singing like a bird.
Yep, I did too, and I saw it a long time ago, like along with you.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of does it for me. I think we covered a lot of questions, and I thank you all so very much for coming and for being in the chat. I really appreciate it. And sorry that I had to miss Sunday, but that's how things are. I really was not feeling good at all, but I'm fine now. And I will be back I think I'm back on Friday.
Yes,
right?
you are.
Yeah, Cleo and I are both going to be back on Friday, 4th of July, for a 4th of July show. I
And I
mean,
think Sherry will be here too.
that's right, because it's our monthly PoliTarology. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll have to see if I can dig up something that's, 4th of July ish to wear, but I don't think I have anything, so
I
it's
thought this
okay.
was a great show, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You really covered a lot of bases, and
Oh,
yeah,
thanks. Thanks. But really, it's the questions in the comments that really get things going, and
yeah.
that just makes it such a great show when people are there and engaged and talking. And thank you guys for putting up with me. Thanks for playing PoliTarology with me. We'll be back on Friday with Sherry, and I hope to see you all there. And thank you. And don't I have to mention this. I do personal readings. You can go to my website, thecoolcrone.com, and you can do the whole thing. You can see my schedule, you can see what services I offer, and you can make an appointment right there. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And please leave me a comment. And I hope that you listen to at least some of this on the replay and leave a comment there. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.